What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you, as always, to upgrade your skills before your gear. If it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie Crew welcome. And if you want, you can subscribe to the channel if you're interested in getting more information, because I help you avoid the hype of new gear, and I recommend the correct gear for your setup. So if that's something that interests you, please be sure to like, subscribe. And as tradition goes around here, the first thing that we always do is check out to see who were the first members of the crew hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we have Mr. Parker Jennings saying hello to everyone. How are you, sir? Welcome, welcome. We got Randy in the house saying hello, everyone, on another live stream. Okay, so hang out over there. I can see that you're a bit busy, but thank you for checking in. It says, watch the rewind. Finally, time to chart. What? To change? Hold on, let me read this again. He says, on another live stream, we'll watch the rewind. Finally, the time change is now in tune with my internal clock. Cheers. Yes. I like this, the way that the light changes, at the time of day. I really enjoy this right now. So we also got Randy. Listen, I'm still reading the previous comment. Sammy in the house saying hello to everyone. We also got Mr. Moderator. Paul is in the house. He's saying greetings. Scott's also here saying hello to the crew. We got Luis Nano in the house. Tech for your needs saying hello there. Said this music got me jamming. Right? Me too, man. This is one of my newer tracks that I found to the playlist. And on my playlist, I have it set to random. But whenever you add a new track, it goes to the top of the list. So this is like this is actually the last track that I heard on Epidemic Sound that I added to this playlist. Says we have the collab of the century, says Mr. Crook. How are you doing, King? Says we have a special guest. No, not a special guest, a special request. I wish Peter were becoming, but Saturday and at this time of night, it's a bit tough for him. It's still even a bit tough for me, but that's why I always thank all of you, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. But yeah, Peter's not hanging out. What is the request that he gave me. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. So maybe I didn't clarify that too well, but then I will just say my bad. I put special request from Peter Gregg. Okay, so what is the special request? So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. I'm going to turn on my fan. Make sure I don't start sweating bullets. But let me go to my overhead to explain. So a couple of weeks ago, I actually stopped by and I was hanging out with Peter. So that was a lot of fun. But while I was there, he mentioned to me about heat shrink tubes. Actually, do I have mine? I might have some available. Yeah, these guys. So he was talking about heat shrink tubes, and if you're not familiar with it, I'll demonstrate to you in just a second if I can get one out. These little guys. I have them in a bunch of different shapes and sizes. If I can get that in there, right? And what you do is that you actually put cables in it, right? That you've soldered together, and then you heat this up and it shrink wraps and it wraps up your cables. I do this for a lot of things, even though they're not just like for soldering joints, so to speak. I put them on the end of a lot. Well, I used to. I'm gonna correct myself. Ever since I got the new iPhones with the USB-C, I haven't had that issue whatsoever with the connection or the cables. But when I used to have a lot more of my lightning cables for my iPhones, I would actually take a heat shrink tube and put it at the end where it would always take the most damage, right? And I would just reinforce the connection that was there, and that would make my lightning cables last a lot longer. Plus, with different colors, it would give me an identifier so I could easily find my cable, through a mess of everyone else's cables. But I digress. So Peter had a situation. He purchased himself a microphone. He got two actually. So I was able to take this one just to test. And this is one of these like performance microphones, so to speak. Like if you're a performer, you hook this over your ear and it just hovers right above your face. So let's say you're a presenter, someone doing, you know, like speaking engagements, things like that. These are the types of microphones that they usually hook up to you, and then of course it gets connected via a standard headphone jack to the transmitter that will then send that signal to the receiver so that the audio can be pumped out through the entirety of the system, through the PA and the recording. So this is what he got for his live streams. The thing is that through his audio interface, right, his mixer board doesn't have the ability to connect that directly. So he got himself one of these guys. This is a 3.5 millimeter jack to XLR adapter. But the one that he got in particular is not like the no-name brand that I have here. This is like the one that you'd find on Amazon for like $10. He actually got the Rode branded one. It's the VXLR, right? And the reason why is because this one in particular does something more than just a dummy XLR to 3.5 connector. This microphone requires, what is it? Line power? It's not 48 to, listen to me. It's not 48 volt phantom power. That's something like a condenser microphone that would need from these types of setups. What it needs is, oh my God, I'm running such a brain fart on the type of power that it is. You know what? Let me see if I grab my camera because I know there's a setting on there that's just gonna kickstart the brain. One second. Okay, so I'm grabbing my Nikon ZR here. Oh, it'll be good if it's plugged in, Lewis. All right, now that it is, let's turn that on. And let's hit the menu button. Where's my remote? There we go. Hopefully you guys can see it. If not, I'm gonna try to put it up a bit more. I can't believe I'm still trying to think of what this thing is called, and I'm running such a brain fart. It's like, it's not phantom power. Maybe you guys could help me out as well. And it's not line in level. I'm so squirreling out on this because it's gonna bug me the rest of the night if I cannot solve this like a splinter in my mind. Where's the audio stuff? Plug-in power. That was gonna drive me nuts, and I can't believe I brain farted. See, mic jack plug-in power. Being yellow right there. Mic jack plug-in power. So, well, back on track. This microphone requires plug-in power. That's why you can't just use a standard dummy XLR to 3.5 adapter. You actually need this one that says VXLR Plus, because what you can do is throw phantom power. It won't shoot all 48 volts. It will actually just shoot the 5 volts that it needs for the plug-in power, and it'll transmit that, grab the signal from the microphone, and then send all that information back to your setup, to the XLR. Now, this system works perfect for Peter. The only problem that he was having was when he actually had him connected. When they were connected, this head and microphone head jack tends to rotate and move. And once it rotates and moves, it actually adds a lot of like static and feedback through the microphone, like if the connection is faulty, and it starts creating a lot of like negative sounds through this microphone. So what Peter actually asked me was, hey Luis, can I take a heat shrink tube, throw it over this, heat it up so that I can prevent this from moving on this, avoiding all of the sound and information and, you know, like distortion that it's causing when it rotates. Because the way that Peter actually likes to use it is that he puts this on his hip and then the XLR cable connected to it. So with that being said, as soon as he presented this problem to me, right away I saw that there was threads. Let me see if I can get a better shot of that here. Right at the end of the headphone jack, 3.5. See if I can get a good shot there. There are threads, and the same on the headphone jack here. The thing is that the threads are not the same. So what we're gonna do is, like, right away my mind went to 3D printing. And as soon as my mind went there, I was like, okay, I can easily 3D print a little piece that's gonna live in between both of these and connect them and have them solid. So I grabbed the microphone and the XLR adapter. He had a spare, and I brought him with me so that we can do this. Now, I already have the game plan, and I'm just gonna show you how I will actually take care of this simple problem. But the key thing is that I'm gonna make it as easy as possible for the novice to actually start creating their own 3D, their own 3D designs so that they can be 3D printed. And how I utilize the most difficult part of this process, and I hand that over to my chat GPTs, right? And I give them the hard work so that it makes it easier for me. I'm just gonna give you a demonstration of the way my mind works and how I will do this task easily. I'm gonna try to do my best to actually have this all done and maybe even sent to the printer by the time that we're done with today's live stream. So that's the goal. Let's get to it. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Okay. Thank you, Sammy. Is the ultralight for the ZR, and you can find it at mrcamerajunkie.com. Yeah, but those are the levels. See, like, oh, plug-in power. Exactly. I know it was just such a mind part. But yeah, that was the thing, that it wasn't phantom power, but when you do need a little bit of juice, it's called plug-in power. A lot of cameras carry that inside of them, but some of these lesser expensive Amazon XLR to 3.5 adapters don't have that ability. They're just making connections, and if you were to send the 48 volts through there, it has a possibility of like maybe damaging this microphone. But that's neither here nor there. Hey Gretchen, she made it. Yes, you did. Saying hi to each other, saying hi to Paul. All right, so we're gonna get into it. Let me go ahead and open up the first application. Okay, I have my window set up. Okay, that's foreshadowing. Let's get away from there. Okay. Okay, FreeCAD. So FreeCAD is the application that I use to create my 3D objects. So let's go ahead and get into that. Let me see. This should be it. There we are. All right, let me see if I move myself here. Am I in the best location? I'm gonna put myself here right now. Okay. Now in FreeCAD, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new part, right? So I'm just gonna run you through it. We're gonna create the new part, and now that we're into the new part, it's unnamed, right? We can save the file right away so that we actually take care of that, which is one of the best things to actually have a backup recovery file. We've learned this from previous experiences. So we're gonna call this Road to Polson. I think that's the name of it. Yeah. If you're interested, the microphone is a Polson ESM-1-MN. And you can find it at B&H. That's not a bad price. It's $30. Okay, so Polson, we have to remember that. So Road to Polson. So we'll just save that. That's the file that we have saved. Okay, now we're gonna create a new sketch, right? And it's gonna ask us which plane do we want to start in. As you can see, this is like the 3D plane, right? You have front, left, right. So you have ZY, ZX, and XY. XY is the base plane, so that's where we're gonna start. Now we're looking at the main point. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and select my circle creation tool, right? Actually, you know what? We're skipping a step. I'm already getting ahead of myself. So you know what? We're just gonna leave this right here, okay? We named the file. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna minimize FreeCAD. Okay, and what I'm gonna pull up now is my chat GPTs, okay? So the first thing is that just gonna get the names correct. So is the Rode VXLR Plus. And because this is an online thing right here, as you can see, oh, you barely can't. But I have my 3 main LLMs that I use already open to see which one's gonna work best for us as we ask for these requests. ChatGPT, Claude Van Damme, he's amazing, and the Genie Gemini are the ones that I use. Okay, so right off the bat, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use Gemini because Gemini is the Google-backed LLM, so it has a lot more information when it comes to searching the web. That's just the way that I feel. It just has a really good hold on it because it has Google as its like core engine. So with that being said, I'm going to ask it for what I need, right? Let me go ahead and do that. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna Google search it because Gemini is built into Google. So right here, Google search, I'm gonna do Rode, right? VXLR Plus specs. Okay. Bam. Look at that. And it already gave us, look, it says it right off the bat. The Rode VXLR Plus features an M6 by 0.5 locking thread pitch, which is the information that I need to actually create these threads. And like I said, threads are one of the hardest things to make when it comes to 3D printing design. So that's what I hand off to my LLMs. So let's go to Chad, right? Let's see here. I'm just gonna grab that information. I'm gonna copy it. We're gonna open up Chat. I go going to need a STL file. How am I going to write it? I need an STL file with this thread pitch, the M6 by 1.5, I'm gonna read back. I'm gonna with a female, because these are gonna be female threads that we need, right? Oh, okay. And we're gonna grab my caliper. So let me go ahead and let's go back to the overhead to show you why I need it. Make sure it's zeroed. Okay, zeroed. And now we're just gonna check how tall we need that thread. 2.48. So 2.5 millimeters is the height that we need this thread. Okay, so we go back over here and we need it female pitch, I'm gonna put cylinder, .5 millimeters tall, .1 millimeter. So let's make it 2. And 2 millimeters thick. Okay. And I need to spell need correctly. Okay. Okay, so that is the prompt. I'm gonna need an STL file. Excuse me. I'm gonna need an STL file with female thread pitch M6 by 1.6 cylinder, 2.5 millimeters tall, and 2 millimeters thick. All right, and let's send that over to Chad from GPT. Now I'm gonna do the same exact thing over here on the Google search, right? But what I'm gonna put is that Polson. Polson, what is it that I'm looking for? Just get the right name. Polson ESM-1-MN. Boom, there we go. And we're gonna put specs. Specifications. Okay, and let's go into AI mode. Okay, let's see what it's saying. Well, the specs, this one's not giving it to me right off the bat. So let's go ahead and ask it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you guys not seeing what I'm showing? You guys are seeing my desktop. Sorry. Hold on. There we are. Testing, testing. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm still coming through in the scene. Okay, so right here is not giving me the information. This is what I thought you guys were seeing, but Okay, so the question that I ask it, oh, once again, spelling. There is a thread at the plug side. What pitch is it? Let's just see if it answers it. Okay, so this is the information. So it's an M6 at 1.75. Bam. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that. All right, there's the information. And boom, by the time we came back, after a minute, Chad from GPT already has the file ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that to download. And now that's downloading. Once it's done, okay, I got the file here. I'm gonna repeat this same exact question basically, but I'm gonna put the new information. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna need the STL file, right? This, we're gonna change that to the Polson information. Copy. M6 by 1.75 in a cylinder, but we're gonna check our measurements over here as well. So once again, .5. Okay, so the first one was 2.5. This one's 3.5 as far as height that we need. And putting those two numbers together is 6 millimeters. Okay, so 2.5 and 3.5. All right, so we go back here. We're going to change that from 2.5 to 3.5, and we're going to leave it the same 2 millimeters thick. Okay, and we're going to send that to Chad from GPT. And it looks like Chad is up to the task of creating the STLs. There are some that don't. I think Claude also makes STLs. It might be that Gemini doesn't, right? That Gemini might just give you like a pattern or instructions for you to create it on your own. But like I said, if you're using these systems, I highly recommend that you actually make sure that you're putting them to good use, right? Like if you have an employee, use them. So right now, my best employees are these LLMs. So they make my life easier. Yes, I know how to go into FreeCAD and make threads. That will take an hour for each one of the thread sides that I needed to make, right? Besides doing the research, I would then have to actually go in and do that work. Right now, I'm gonna grab this. Actually, go to my downloads. My date added. And what I'm going to show you is, look at that. This is the STL file that Chad created, right? So this is that M6 by 0.5, 2 millimeters thick, 2.5 millimeters tall. And that's the STL file that I downloaded directly from Chad GPT. Okay. So with that being said, it's got the second one done. We're gonna download this as well. And now this is the female thread, right? And this is the same thing. This one doesn't look as nice as the other one did. This one looks very smooth. But if it works, it works. So this is the 0.75 M6 at the 3.5 with the 2 millimeters thickness of the walls. Okay, so now we have those two files. They're sitting on a computer. We're gonna hold off right there. Actually, we're gonna take the next step. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take both of those files and I'm gonna drop them right into the Bamboo Labs slicer. so that we can start, like, if we wanted to, we can individually print out both of those to test them out. But I have faith, so we're gonna skip that step. All right, I'm gonna minimize this. Gonna go ahead. Grab it. Actually, let me go ahead and open Bamboo Labs because I don't see it. Gonna cancel that. We're gonna prepare a new project. So we have a flat, plate, no information on it. Gonna grab our finder and we're gonna grab the female, right? As soon as we drop it in there, it automatically shows up. See it there? We're gonna do the same for the other piece. Oop. So now we have both of the pieces that Chad created on the board. So we could take a look at them and we could see both of the threads. The reason why I threw them on here is because I actually want to check their actual diameters, right? So I'm going to go ahead, click here, and I'm going to go center this. And now that this is centered, I'm going to grab my little ruler here, and I'm going to put one clicker on this side. I'm going to flip it to the other side. I'm gonna put the other clicker right there, and it's telling me that it's 10 millimeters from side to side. Okay, that's where we're at. And if the other one's also an M6, they were both M6s, then the other one should be 10 millimeters just the same, but we're gonna double check that just like I did here. So now we're gonna click this one, we're gonna center it. We're gonna click the ruler again. Yeah, this one came out choppy though. Like I'm even seeing it here, right? Look at that. It's so weird. But just like I said, it's 10 millimeters the same way. Okay. Now with that information, because I'm still on I was like, why isn't it clicking off? Okay, we're still gonna work with it. It's 10 millimeters on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna create a little pipe. We're gonna go back to FCAD, right? And now all I have to do is create the piece that's gonna link both of these two together. That's it. So when we added both of the heights, it was going to be 6 millimeters. That's what we needed. So that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make a 6 millimeter little like tube. And that's basically all the work that we would have to do in FreeCAD, you as a like developer or designer of this part. So the hardest parts, which were the threads, are already done. As you can see, they look good. So now let's go ahead and put these together. I'm going to show you how I do that. All right. I'm going to go into FreeCAD, and just like before, I had started this whole thing. We started a new sketch, and now we're jumping back to it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my circle tool, and this is why I stopped, because I didn't know the exact diameter that I was going to need for the pipe. So I was like, oh, I need that information first. So I need to create the files in ChatGPT. So let's go ahead and do that first. Now that we have those files and we were able to measure the 10 millimeters, now we're going to go ahead and create our little tube. So we're going to go to the starting node right here, and we're just going to hit 10.25. Right? So now we got a 10.25 millimeter, circle. And the reason why I did the 2.5, right, the 10.25, is so that it's just a little bit bigger than the files that we already have in the Bamboo Slicer. Why am I doing this? So that roughness that we just saw from the file that we grabbed from ChatGPT, that's going to get hidden underneath the 0.25 of extra filament that I'm making this part as when we combine them, like when we fuse them. So because it's going to be hidden, that the only part that we're really going to be seeing is the threads. And if those are a bit choppy, I'm okay with it, just as long as the outside is smooth, right? Okay, so now we got the 10.25. Now I'm going to create another circle, right, at 9 millimeters. Right, so now this is just like a little rings or double rings, right? Now that we got our 2 rings in our appropriate size, we're now gonna hit pad, which creates the tube, right? And automatically it gives us 10 millimeters of height as soon as you hit pad. But we don't need 10 millimeters, like we said before, we only need 6. So now we made our little 6 millimeter 10.25 tube, okay? We're gonna hit save. We're gonna hit OK. Yeah, allow. Okay, now that that's there, right? We have that saved. I'm gonna go ahead and select the body from the model side. Actually, yeah, you're still being able to see it. So right there, we're gonna select the body, none of the other ones. It has to be the body, right? Turn that off so I don't confuse you guys. Okay, select the body. I'm gonna hit Control E and we're gonna export. So now we're gonna export this and it's to the desktop. Okay, that's fine. CL, we're gonna hit save, and now that's on the desktop. Gonna go ahead, minimize these guys, and there it is. I don't, oh, you guys can see it. Here it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw that right into the Bamboo Labs studio. And you can see as soon as we popped open the application, now we have all 3 parts here. So this is our new 6 millimeter tube and the 2 parts that we got from ChatGPT. So now let me show you how I'm gonna put these together. This one we're gonna hit and it's already centered. So let's say, for example, it was out of whack, right? We're gonna click here, we're gonna right click it and we're gonna hit it center and it's gonna put it dead center of the plate. What we're gonna do with this one is that we're also gonna do the same thing. We're gonna hit it dead center. And as you can see, that's already done, right? Those parts are perfectly aligned because I didn't have to do the work. I let the computer do the work of centering everything identically. So now I should be able to hit Control on the inside, Control on the outside. So I selected both parts and I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna merge those 2 guys. So now when I move them, they move together as one part. And more importantly, when I grab it here and I change the orientation, which is what I'm gonna do right here, I have the X, Y, and Z axis. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna flip it on its head, right? And once I'm out of there, as you can see, the threads are on top and now it's hollowed at the bottom. Why? Because we're gonna run the same exact thing. Now we're gonna grab this one, we're gonna center it. We're gonna grab these 2 pieces that have been, meshed or merged together. We're gonna hit center on that. We're gonna right click, we're gonna select all, and then we're gonna merge that as well. Bam. And now we have the completed part with both threads, the M6 0.5 and the M6 0.75. Right? Now that we have both of those in that part, if you really want to finalize it, you'll right click on it again and you will put mesh boolean, right? So once you hit mesh boolean, it's actually gonna solidify all of these parts as a single part. And now if I were to come over here and right click it after the fact, oh, it's giving me the little, okay, it's done saving the file together, it's done the mesh. As you can see, if I were to try to select this file that says split, I can't split them anymore. If I wouldn't have done the mesh boolean, I would have still been able to kind of deconstruct all of the pieces that we had put together. But once you actually solidify it as a mesh boolean, then that's locked in. And that's this part. So now this part is fully locked in. What I would do is I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna do auto rotate, right? And what it's gonna do is it's gonna flip it, right? It's gonna put the bigger side at the bottom so that we wouldn't have to use supports for this file. Okay, and we're at 50 past the hour. Let's see how long. A1 mini, cool plate, 0.4. We're gonna center it. We're gonna slice the plate now, and it's telling me that it's gonna take 10 minutes and 57 seconds. So we're gonna be able to finish it within the hour. All right. There are a couple of things that I do, right? I come over here to the others tab, and my face is right over what I'm clicking. Hold on. Right there. All right. Right here is called the skirt loops, right? Like if I hit slice, right, we're getting the file and we can go through all the layers. Boom, we're done, right? But like this is gonna be like a solid part. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the strength. I'm gonna take this to 20% infill. We're gonna hit enter. And then once again, we don't need supports, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit 4 skirt loops. And then when I hit slice, you'll see that it actually creates these loops over the part. I do this for the majority of my prints. This mostly has to do with the adhesion of your filament to the bed. So it'll start with making these loops around the area where it's going to print. And if it doesn't stick correctly, then you could abort the print before you really start spending some like real waste material. It's kind of like a mini test print to make sure that everything's sticking correctly. And if it does, then you're pretty much set for the rest of the print. But let's go ahead and print the plate. I have it set to my printer called Attack of the Clones. And now we hit send. And that's when the 3D printer starts going. And now we've completed the special request part for Mr. Peter Gregg. With that being said, it's now, getting ready. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the light. So that you guys can see it working in the background. Let me go ahead. Go back to this. So Attack of the Clones, my A1 mini is sitting in the back printing. And now, as soon as that's done, we're gonna go ahead and test this microphone. Let's go. Aaron made it. Says, hello, mate. Aaron, why did I say Aaron? It's Andrew. Listen to me. Mind. Wow, this is worth chapter markers. I'll do my best to work on them, Paul. I need to get better with it. But I should just chop it down and condense it without a lot of the talking, but we'll see about that. And now it's just 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, we're gonna have this completed, and that's why I say like this is probably like my favorite part of 3D printing and design, is the fact that you're gonna get like that instant gratification, right? So like, let's say I was doing anything, now I can go make a coffee in the morning. I can go do a bunch of different things, and those 10 minutes are just gonna be gone in no time, right? Like I can go grab the mail, right? And by the time I'm back, this print is done. And to tell you the truth, it's such a little filament, and it's gonna be such a fast print that the preparation, right, is actually gonna take longer than the print itself. So what it's doing right now, it's preheating the bed, it's preheating the nozzle, it's like testing, it's doing a bed leveling, automatic bed leveling. It's also doing like vibration reduction tests, and all of those things are actually gonna be taking a lot longer than the print itself. And then the last thing, right, because because we can do this. This is something that I love about bamboo printers. So let me go ahead and get back to that screen to show you. Go ahead, click over to it, right? Check this out. Look at the speed button right here. See? I have like all the control and all the information wirelessly. As you can see, look, it hasn't even started printing and we're already at 50% because all of it is actually like prep work. But it's telling me like, oh, we only got 5 minutes left, right? Lewis has been speaking for that long already. But I was like, you know what? 5 minutes is just still too long. I'm able to change the speed from standard to sport and even ludicrous speeds. But we don't need ludicrous speeds. Let's just go to sport, right? We'll select it and then we'll see it change right over here to 124%. Anytime now. Okay, I think it should take now. Or does it actually need to start printing before? No. You know what? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to the printer itself. I'm going to go to the printer and actually hit it to the 124%. Oh, it just accepted it. I didn't even have to switch it. Yep. Oh, let me show you guys. So there you go. See, it went from 120 to 124. So now it went from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. You know what? Let me see something else. See if I could. Okay, that's camera. That's what I needed. There we go. Okay, this is what I needed. Why did I need this? Because we're gonna do something on the fly. What I'm doing is I'm opening up my Rode. We'll have it on this camera. Yep. My Rode Capture app, which I use for my iPhone in the back. I'm actually gonna reopen it here. I'm gonna make sure that, okay, NDI cast is on. Yep. Which allows me to, there you go, bam. So now, I didn't really think this through because now I have to hold it. See, I'm much time is left? 0 minutes. We can wait. All right. All right, so let's go back to my overhead. And there we have it, the final print. And now to test it out. That did not come out right. And I trusted it. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to send it from my other computer. Where did I mess up here? All right, but hold on. Round 2. Fight. All right. Giving it a second right now. I'm letting it load so that I can set this back to sport mode. Okay. Sport mode activated. Perfect. Okay, it's at 124. All right. That sucked. Where did I mess up? Well, it did fit one of the sides, so let me go ahead and show you. Oh, crap. That's right. The thing just told me there's no build plate, which is this thing here. Back to the overhead. So I was able to get it on here. But I miscalculated. And this is why we prototype. This is why we test and we test. And like I said, I messed up because I was trying to, I guess, like do it with the time constraints. Right? And be like, oh, let me not double check. And I missed a step there. But this should be fine. I'm giving it up to the quirkiness of the application on the Mac Mini. Okay. So Bamboo Studio, we're quitting that. Cancel. Oh, that's so cool. It says Bob was yelling at me. He wants to see it printing. You know what? Now that this one's printing, let me go ahead and reset the camera. There it is. set it up with a tripod this time. To duplicate this scene, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. Just leaving. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to grab this camera and I'm going to throw it in here. If I do this, I should pop up there. There, perfect. All right, that's a good shot. Shit. Get the hell out of it. All right. So there we go. I gotta tell you guys, I absolutely just like love watching my printers. I don't know if that was from this print or from the previous print, so I cleared it anyway. All right, so now you can tell Bob he can watch this entire print because we're gonna hang out for the next 10 or 8-ish minutes. Actually, this says it only has 3 minutes left. It's at 58% already, and like you said, like I said, it hasn't even printed anything out. You can see I'm very anal with my prints. I see something just through the screen, I'm like, oh, let me go clean it. But yeah. All right, we're having 3D printing fun. I tell you the truth, like I get stuck watching that thing print just to see the way that it works. It's like mesmerizing. All right, and you can see it's doing the 4 little loops, the skirt loops, and then it just starts printing it out. And it's just like I always mention it. It's like the part of the Fifth Element when what was her name? Was her name Mila Jovovich? No, is it? Could be. Sometimes I psych myself out like I get the names correct, but her character, Lilu, the main character of the Fifth Element, she takes a little pill, puts it like in a microwave, hits a button, it goes ping, and when she opens it up, there's a huge like turkey dinner, like with all the fixings on a plate. Like that was supposedly like the future of eating food, right? It's just super interesting that that's kind of how I feel when it comes to 3D printing. It's like out of nothingness and then there's something, right? And you can see, like I'll tell you the truth, these bamboo printers, they are super impressive with their speed and how quiet they are. Like this little guy, man, I think this is the #1 starter printer for anyone starting out. And the crazy thing is that for the things that I do, it's actually more than good enough because there's, you know, like there's pros and cons to each machine. So for example, when I want to print something out this small, right? And I'm just printing one of them, like it's literally telling me that there's no more minutes left. We're at layer 20 of 30, 21 of 30, 22 of 30. Like this is how fast, almost at a 2-second stint, it's printing a layer, so we're just looking at seconds before it's completed. And if you have a much bigger printer, to print out something this small is just like a lot more effort, right? The entire machine has to move a lot more just because you have to bring all of those, like all of the mechanics to that location to print it out. And when it comes to prototyping and just like iterating and then printing out and seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't, I actually think that the Mini is probably one of the best printers, because the smaller plate size, it's a limitation, but it also creates a like much faster print, because at worst case scenario, this could never be the size of the other ones. And we're done. This looks good. Let me go ahead and this wasn't it, was it? No, my top down. Boom. So this is the file now. See if I can get it. And now we're going to test once again. Yeah, this is correct. All right. So we come here and we just start threading the headphone jack. Make sure we got it right. You know what? Let's start on the XLR. There we go. Yes, this is correct. All right. So I was able to thread the plastic piece perfectly onto the end of the Rode XLR. So as you can see, we no longer see the thread there. You just see the connection. And now I'm just going to put the microphone in. I got tough. Let me see something. Looking for my deburring tool. I want to take the edge off of the end right there, but let's see. Okay, we're good. Maybe I was misthreading it. All right. Boom, we're successfully done with this print. Okay. As you can see, we're threading on both sides. So either side that you put it on, right, you'll be able to connect and then thread on the other side. So now this is complete. This no longer needs one of these heat shrink tubes because we're locked in. And last thing that we're able to do is test out the microphone ourselves. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch it out from the back over here real quick. Testing, testing. Oh, that's hot. Sorry if I blew your eardrums out right there. That was a test. Yeah. Testing, testing. Yeah, okay. And now this is the Pulsen microphone. I have it. Yeah, this is not bad. You know, I can wear it at the same time as my headphones because it goes around the ear. And now, just to confirm, that this is the microphone. I can't tell the difference of how it sounds, but you guys actually can. So if I could explain my error, absolutely. My error, I believe, was in the thread. Listen to me. Words are hard today. The thread pitch. I don't think the information that I got from Gemini was correct on the Pulsen. So that's basically it. I think I would need to have done my exact research, because what actually happened was that I had already done this for Peter. So I was just recreating the thing that I had done already to demonstrate exactly how I did it. When I went to recreate the file, I don't think I got the correct information, but at the same time, that's what I'd be testing anyway. There was nothing that actually differed in my process. I just think I got the correct information on my previous attempt. So what I did is that after I completed showing you how I did it, I then went and printed the original file that was on my other computer. And that's the error. The error, that the process wasn't the error, the information was the error. But that's when, in all sincerity, what I did last time or the previous time is that once I got the files from ChatGPT, I actually just printed them individually. And then I tested the threads. So if I would have done that step today that I was trying to skip, I would have then recognized that the thread pitch that I had pulled for the Pulsen microphone was not correct. And then with that not being correct, that would have led me to find the correct pitch, then made the part the same exact way, but with the correct pitch connection. And that's it. I actually think that the only difference that is that I think that the Pulsen microphone is not an M6. I think it's actually an M8 at the 0.75 pitch thread. But for me to confirm that, it would just be like having to hunt on my old history on my other computer, which is not necessary. The same exact process would be done the same exact way with the use of the LLMs and the chat GPTs, and have them create the files that you need, right? If you're finding it difficult, right, the only thing that you need to think about is how you'll be putting some of these pieces together when you go to merge them and do the mesh boolean in the slicer. So you're able to pick some of these parts. And that's a skill that I learned when I created my first print in place part. So my first print in place part is this guy right here. Which is my IKEA Scatus board universal game controller holder. And it's universal because the hands move so that you can fit any controller that you might have. So I have on display my PS5, my PS4, my PS3 controllers, and even though they're similar, they're all slightly different. So instead of having a bunch of different like brackets for every single specific individual like controller, and that they would all sit at different heights, so there was nothing uniform, I created my own. Why do I bring this up? Is because to create this part, which is called print in place, meaning as soon as you print it, it prints flat like this without the need of supports or anything like that. And as soon as it's done printing, you pull it off of the printer, it's ready to go. Meaning the parts that are adjacent to them, and the moving mechanisms are all printed inside, already done. Meaning I had to create the arm structure and then the center structure completely separate on separate files, and then bring them into the slicer and match them correctly, and then print it to make sure that they're not like fused together, right? Because if they were fused together, then it's printed together and they would break immediately. So I needed to make sure that I had the correct offset and enough spacing so that these will still flex as soon as you pull them off of the printer. And this was my first successful print in place design. And once I was able to acquire that skill, it just opened the door for a lot of other designs, because of the simple fact that you can take, you know, a design from over here, a helper part from ChatGPT, and then combine them in the slicer to then get your desired results. So that's the lesson for today. Use the tools that you have at your disposal. It is my weakest point, because it also takes the longest time for me to make threads within FreeCAD. But now I don't have to, because I can save hours of time. Like, honestly, I would have taken like 2 hours just to create the correct pitch thread in FreeCAD, because it's like I said, is the most difficult thing for me to design within the application itself. Well, I take that completely off the table by giving it to Chad from GPT, and that's what I recommend you do. Whatever it is that you're creating, give it a go and see how these LLMs could actually help you do it that much better. All right, let me go ahead and put this back on. How are both of my apps doing? They're doing well. Actually, both, like right now you're looking at the anamorphic app. After my latest update with the tweaks from Tahoe 26.3.1 or 3.2, I did an update for that one, and everything on this application has been running like flawlessly. Like, I've had no complaints with its performance, and right now, like, this is super smooth. Super smooth. And then my Momentum app, I would ask you guys, like, you let me know what you think. Like, my computers have been running like rock solid, and whenever I'm like about to do a live stream or anything like that, I, like, kind of like putting it into do not disturb mode. I've been running my application of Momentum, so I just clean it out, make sure that it doesn't have any like junk files, anything like that. It hasn't really found anything, but it finds like 2 or 3 within the week that I use it. And then, like, before the live stream today, I ran the Momentum app, clean up the application, and the computer runs a lot better because of it. And I'm gonna wait to see what this microphone sounds like, because I'm also using it with Crisp. So Crisp is taking out a lot of the background noise, and I bumped into it a couple of times, right? So it's taking out all of that noise. And it definitely, because of the plug-in power, seems more sensitive than my SM7B. Oh my God. My 2PS, and actually I think it's the P2S, right? I think it starts with the letter P. So congratulations, Paul. It says it gets here next month. Oh, buddy. Welcome to my world. Now I'm going to have another friend requesting more like designs of prints. He's like, I have this exact problem, and don't worry, I got you, Paul. Oh, he corrected himself. P2S, yes. Did you attach the microphone clip to your hip? No, I didn't. What I did is I just had the cable. So I just have it here, like, laying on the desk, and I just have it connected. It's basically the same as if it were on my hip. Sammy's got a question. So, are you thinking of making any other Mac apps? Absolutely, sir. I have like a suite, right? It's gonna end up being like my Mr. Camera Junkie applications, right? From Momentum to the NDI Pro. And let me just make them first, right, before I start saying what they are. But I do have I have a roadmap, and my plan is to have, like, and I don't know about more in the future, but like to start my snowball, so to speak, I'm gonna be running 5 applications that are gonna be more or less based around the camera aspect, the camera world, and content creator, and things to make it easier for us to create content. Both like and that's the whole thing, guys. Like, use these applications to get done what you want to get done. So now, some of you actually took part. I know Gretchen did. Quite a few took part in Alex summit that he did just this past week. I was actually one of the presenters, and I forgot to even mention it because I was wrapped up in just kind of helping him out, and just to be, just to give you guys the 411. He asked me to do a presentation, and then when I brought my presentation, like, all fully done, he was like, there's some people who are doing that same exact thing. Would you be able to do something into the 3D printing side? Because I know that, like, he mentioned, like, selfishly, he wanted me to do something like that. So I changed all of, like, my my lesson plan, so to speak. And I went with the 3D route. And what I did was actually start talking about how we can transform problems into products, right? And like, one of them that I had mentioned is my patent that I'm using right here. Right? My quick release microphone arm. Right? That's something that came from a problem, and now it's a product. My application, both my NDI, which I was like, man, I want to use my anamorphic lenses on live streams, but those aren't available right now. Well, guess what? Now they are with my NDI application. And then the other one was just like a need as well. Like, hey, you know what? Even though I take nothing away from the other applications like Clean My Mac and things that are similar, not exactly the same, but similar to what my application does, they're also a subscription-based application that's $50 a year. Like, I take nothing away from them and their company. They've done it right for many, many years. But now I don't have to just subjugate myself to saying, like, that's the only option there is. Not only did I make my own application to handle exactly what I needed to do, but I'm also providing it now for $25 at a lifetime license, meaning any updates that I create for the application, any additions from here till the end of time, you have my word that this application will always be free, right? Or no, the updates, I'm sorry, will always be free. So it's a one-time charge of $25, which people spend more than that on lunch, but it will help me out as a creator and also start building that snowball for the next application to come, the professional versions of some of these applications, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And if you're interested, you can go to momentum.mrcamerajunkie.com and download a free 14-day trial of Momentum. Try it out completely for free for 14 days. And if you like it, then you buy it and it's yours for life. And you can use it on 2 computers. So it's not like you have to use it for everything. I thought of that as well. Like, not everyone is going to have 3 or 4 computers, right? Not all of them are going to be a Mr. Camera Junkie, but sometimes you'll have a desktop computer like a little Mac Mini or a Mac Studio. And in addition, you'll also have a laptop, right? Like this new $500, $600 Mac Neo. So now, let's say you have a Mac Mini and a Mac Neo, the $25 will cover both. So when you're at your home, on your desktop, or on the road, you'll still be able to have Momentum Pro on both of those machines for the same $25 price. So that's like $12 a computer. And like I said, this is a lifetime application. So it's something that I was able to create and now also provide as another viable option for anyone who needs it. and that's it, right? One hand washes the other, and that's something that I think is just so amazing that now we have the ability. And just like I said, anything that your heart desires, you can go ahead and like create it in a CAD software and then throw it on a printer, and in minutes you'll have the part that you need for whatever it is that you need. And I can't tell you how many times I've done exactly that, and I failed to record myself doing it. That's why I tried to like reenact it today, because I'm able to just jump onto the application, create the files that I need, print them, and then problem solved. And I just can't emphasize how big that is in today's day and age, because it really puts manufacturing back into the hands of the common man. So for example, I can create these designs, print out the prototypes like so, right? And I know that this design works. Now the next step, which is something that I'm actually having a little trouble with, and I'll be, completely forthright with you guys. The companies now, my next step with this is that I'm looking to get the actual price of remaking this entire 3D printed item printed out of metal, out of a solid metal, so that there's no chance of it breaking because it's made out of a sturdy material. Once I get that information, I'll be able to put the package together and know what will be my actual manufacturing cost to produce these, so that then I can start a Kickstarter to actually see who wants to back my idea and get one of these items in their hands as well, right? That's part of the Kickstarter. With that being said, what I need to do to get the quotes for this from the CNC machining places, what I need is actually the files that I've created. They need to be in .step, not .stl, which there is a difference. So believe it or not, this is just something that I'm working on. I'm having difficulty within my own application because the file is so big and extensive to convert this STL file into a step file. And usually it should be fairly easy, but it's been difficult because of my particular file. So for example, the small file that I just created, this little 10-minute print to fix this microphone connection for Peter, that's a very small kilobyte size file. So converting that to a step file is going to be fairly easy. The intricateness of all of these parts is that much more extensive that when I've gone to convert them, it's been freezing up my computers, and I haven't been getting the actual file. It's been saying that it's like produced it, but then when I go look for it, it's not on my computer. So right now I'm working with Claude to create an application to see, and this is just shooting it in the dark, right? To see if I can create an application that is like basically drag and drop for converting an STL to a step file, so that then I can take that step file and hand it over to the CNC machining places so that they can give me an accurate quote of how much it would be to machine those parts for me. And right now I'm stuck at the part of STL to STEP. So STL to step is where I'm having a problem with my systems right now. And that's what's hindering me from taking the next step on the Kickstarter campaign. So that's where I'm at. And if I can't figure this out through the applications that I have myself, I'm probably going to be trying to build one with the help of Claude, just like I said, to see if I can find something that's easily drag and drop. If not, I'm going to make it. And that's what I emphasize in. We need to stop getting out of the mindset of waiting for companies and manufacturers to create the things that we want, because we have the power to do it ourselves. From learning the CAD software to 3D printing your own designs, and then having a manufacturer produce that and have a full-fledged item. All of this can be done, and you have the power now. You just have to get out of the mindset of waiting for somebody else to make something that solves your problem, and recognize that you are the main, or probably the best source of information to solve that problem, because you're going to know what's worth it and what's not. You're going to know if like the juice is worth the squeeze
And if it isn't, you're able to kind of emphasize or focus on the parts that are going to make the difference in whether it's a physical product or a digital one. We have the power in our hands in today's day and age, which is amazing. It really is. So, all right. Join Miko. Join Miko. I got Join Miko. That's the name that I got here. It says, "Hey, Mr. Camera Junkie, how are you? MegCon is this weekend in Orlando." MegaCon. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that is. You know what? Let me see if I could. No. I'm just gonna Google it real quick. Okay. So it is like Comic-Con. Nice lineup. You got 4 of 8 Hobbitons. Well, actually, 2 Hobbits and 2 Elven. Orlando Bloom, Liv Tyler, Elijah Wood, and Sean Astin. Astin, yeah. John Cena, but I don't think nobody's gonna see him. Not a bad lineup. Oh, and Gillian Anderson. So if you don't know who Gillian Anderson is, that's Scully from X-Files. Big X-Files nerd. Like, if you guys didn't know it, let me know who likes X-Files here, because I watched all seasons of X-Files. Like, I did. I had the DVD set and I watched all the episodes multiple times. Such a great series. Such a great series. A lot of fun. A lot of holes in the story, obviously, but a lot of fun. And even though I watched it, the remake that they made, right? The retake, and that they were gonna try to like push off the newer, younger, like Scully and Mulder. Yeah, just not the same. Sometimes, like, I think that the originals are the way that they should be, and you know, everything nowadays is a money grab. We really do lose a lot of the artistic touch, and that's just the way that I feel. So, for example, let me give you this. I'm a huge fan of the movie The Matrix. And I said it correctly. I'm a huge fan of the movie The Matrix. Not the biggest fan of the entire franchise. I actually think that the movie The Matrix would have been way more impactful if it would have been left as a single movie. Is after Mr. Anderson Neo hangs up the phone and flies off, and you get the Rock, like, and we get credits. That should have been it, in my opinion. The other movies are okay, but I really think they lost the plot of the story, and they tried to dive way too deep with all of the sequels. But like I said, when there's that much money being plundered, like being dangled in front of you, like, who's gonna say no to a sequel and a like 3-piece like setup? But then they did the Animatrix, which was like another 13 episodes. Like, they milked it in so many different things, and I still feel, man, if they would have just left that one alone. And you see, I don't feel that way about a lot of other movies. Like, I absolutely love the Back to the Future trilogies, right? Back to the Future trilogy is just amazing. I think that, and I'm glad that they didn't try to make it more. So let me give you a perfect example of what is not good with this sequel culture. I absolutely loved the movie The Fast and the Furious. And once again, so many holes, but for the year 2021, when it came out and all that, like, that movie was amazing. By the time they hit like the 4th episode, and I emphasize this, when they did Tokyo Drift, I wasn't sure where they were going with it, right? Like with the entire series, but I actually think that the movie Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift didn't even need to be named Fast and the Furious. It didn't even need to be part of the franchise. It was its own movie. And I think it would have done just as good, if not better, if it was a standalone movie, almost like The Matrix, like I'm saying. So with that, any movie after Tokyo Drift in the Fast and the Furious franchise, to me, I actually like stopped watching them once I saw Toretto take a car, right? Roll it up some concrete like if it was a half pipe in the X Games with the car, right? And it flew in the air, and while it was flying in the air, it did a turn that allowed him to reach out and hang grenades onto a helicopter and then bring the car back down the half pipe and drive off while the helicopter blew up in the air. I was like, they have lost the plot with these movies. And then I heard that these dudes ended up in space in one of the even later episodes. Like, I had already quit on that series of movies. And the funny thing is, like, I have like the first 4 or 5, like maybe from the Tokyo Drift and the one after, all on like DVD and Blu-ray, because I used to like the movies. And then it got to that, I was like, oh, there's no reason to buy any of these. Like, there's no reason. I still have them running around there. Anyways, let's finishing up. Oh my God, we're 40 past the hour. Yep, that's how it is when it comes to these codes. Absolutely. Your presentation was amazing. Thank you, Gretchen. Yes, absolutely. With the same code. Absolutely. That's the way that I designed it. I need to get better with you know, mentioning all of this stuff. The reason my MacBook Neo is named Neo is because it means it's new. Absolutely. But it's almost like you need to get that MacBook. You know, now that I'm the MacBook Neo with Nano Tech. Come on. Oh, it's Miko. It is Miko. I'll check you out. I'm looking for the entire name and it didn't register, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, how you doing, girl? Absolutely not. As soon as you said it's me, Miko the entrepreneur, I was like, I know you. I believe I'm subscribed to your entrepreneur, unless you change the name. I didn't forget you. I just didn't know it was you. That avatar does not speak Miko. Paul's giving the hands up. All right. So now let's close these things out. I have some, but we're going to skip snap decisions just to close things out, because that could take us for another half an hour easily. So I did my soliloquy of applications and products. But now what we are going to do is Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And now I do need to pull this up. This is the one. There we go. Cities Gaw. We hit the button. Then we hit. Oh, it messed it up. I'm just talking to myself. Let me make sure I get this. There we go. Cities Gaw. And this week's Cities Gaw is none other than Mr. Brady Bissett. If you're not familiar with Brady Bissett, let me be the one to introduce you to this amazing content creator. Of course, the reason why I also mention him is to also give me a mental reminder that Mr. Brandon Washington is hosting a 3-day behind the scenes course on everything photography, videography, and how to become a better filmmaker. So he's got this entire film school 3-day event, and Mr. Brady Bissett is actually going to be one of the speakers there. We got Brandy Janae, Kofi Yaboa. We're gonna have Cam Mackey. So many. Brandon Talbot. Wow. I think Rob Machado. There's just a bunch of names, and they're all going to be dropping knowledge for like 3 days. I think is the 17th, 18th, and 19th of April. So this one, to give you some more time to check it out, go ahead and head over to Brandon Washington's channel and the Creative Fam to get more information about it. But Mr. Brady Bissett is a filmmaker. He's Mr. Grip Gear, so to speak. Even though he's a camera junkie and he's going to give you a lot of information on lighting, on technique and everything, he also has a lot of amazing content. Like this one that I seen, this video, I wish I knew this sooner. This is such an amazing video. I saw this a couple months ago and I can't highly recommend it. The way that he has his van set up and all the things that he's teaching you from the industry, like from in the know, like Apple boxes, how to use them, how he stores them, the terminology, right? Because terminology is like half of the game, right? If you don't know what's being said, it's like they're speaking a completely different language. But like I learned from him the different phrases because I'm just like giving you the information that we're seeing in the thumbnail. He's grabbing those Apple boxes, and depending on which orientation you want the Apple box so that you can get a different height, there's a different term for it. And I just found that so interesting because obviously I've never heard of that aspect before, right? I've used them in a variety of different ways, yet I just didn't know that there was a term for the way that they wanted the orientation. So just little nuggets like that you'll always find through one of his videos. So I highly recommend you go check him out if you haven't done so already. That's this week's Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch is none other than Mr. Brady Bissett. And like I said, you can also hear him live doing a demonstration on Brandon Washington's 3-day film school, April 17th, 18th, and 19th. So sign up. It's absolutely free. The replays, if you want to catch the replays, I think there might be a charge there, but you can catch it free if you can catch it live, and I highly recommend. You'll see me there definitely listening in and learning from all of these amazing creators. You'll find me in chat, so hopefully I will see you there. And that's it. We did it, guys. That's gone. And we have done it. This was episode 277. And if you're wondering what that number is, that's 277 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. So I thank you, as always, for hanging out here and hanging out with me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe. It's highly appreciated. And we're working our goal to 2,500 subscribers. Then the next is 5,000, 75, 10,000, and we're going to start working the way up. If you're watching this for the first time and you're new, once again, I highly recommend you like, subscribe. We've been getting a lot more viewers in the last couple of weeks. The numbers have jumped up like 4 times over. So welcome to all the new viewers of the Camera Junkie live stream. I can't wait to have you here as part of the crew, and make sure that you set your calendars to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Saturday night, because we're all going to be doing this every single week. Consistency is key, and I prove that week in and week out. So make sure that you have the calendar set for episode 278, and yes, that's 278 consecutive weeks that we'll be doing the Camera Junkie live stream. That's over 5 years without skipping a beat. So I can't wait to see you guys there. As always, take care of yourselves and each other. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces while we do it all over again right here, same time, same place on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So until then, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Talk to you. I need to get that new end scene. My stream deck is all messed up. Where's the outro? There we go.